Initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Let's rock!
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Old Man Than.
And me, DK. Ooh, that didn't feel right.
It does not feel right at all, but we're here anyway, bringing you your semi-regular double tap of all things Laserforce and Space Marines related.
And definitely not disc golf related.
Yeah, definitely no disc golf this week, because reasons. Oh, and...
Subscribe. Lights.
Well, I guess that's one way to keep the tradition alive of trying to distract everybody with flashing lights. Stallion, there's something missing. You can't quite put your finger on it. Yeah,
It's called hair.
yeah, lots and lots of hair. Definitely lots and lots of hair missing from this show today.
All I'm saying is it's a little weird that Steve's not here right after there's a huge manhunt for whoever gunned down the United Healthcare executive. I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking questions. Like, is Steve an international assassin? But
Okay.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, Tucker.
Yeah. No problem.
Jesus. And
Obviously, he's not a national assassin. He's helping to orchestrate a military coup in South Korea. So he's busy with other things, is the point that we're trying to make.
yeah, Steve-O had some other stuff to take care of today. So you're stuck with me as the producer. So I'm actually hugely surprised that there aren't any technical problems yet. Although we did have some, we just managed to resolve them before the show. I realize that's very unlike us.
Like professionals.
Professional-ish? Ish?
Ish.
Huge emphasis on the ish. So yeah, so blame Thantu? Really? Oh, sure, fine. It's all my fault. It's fine. Sure.
It is fine. The important thing is that it's not my fault and no one's blaming me. And I am still the favored child. Well, since we're not good at, having transitions from one section of the show to another, should we just go to guest mode, or is there anything else that you want to talk about from this week, Dan? Because I have not done shit this week.
Well, I mean, since the one person who was on this show normally that actually gets a chance to play lasers and can talk about it isn't here, we don't have our usual little bit of hearing about Auckland lasers and how fucking cool it is that they got so many people playing and they get to have all these fun members nights. Assholes.
So instead, we're going to have someone on from Loveland to talk about how they get to have so many fun members nights and they get to play laser tag all the time.
That is accurate. So, yeah. So without further ado, because DK and I do not know how to make small talk in any way, shape, or form without Steve here to facilitate the small talk, we're just going to bring our guest in, and hopefully I don't fuck this transition up too badly, and she'll be here momentarily. Please welcome Asra from Loveland.
Make sure you unmute her.
I was literally clicking the unmute as you said that. So
good. We'll edit that part out.
Edit that in post. Asra, welcome on.
Howdy.
Lovely to see you. Thanks for we've been trying to get you on the show for a little while, and there's always been a problem that you have this little thing called work on.
Yeah,
Friday
it's rather
evenings.
unfortunate. Friday nights are always a catastrophe, to be honest. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with a catastrophe tonight.
Excellent.
We're-
Although that's not really true. You have to deal with the catastrophe that's called this show.
I think I'd prefer this over what's about to happen tonight.
what's about to happen tonight that you're not having to deal with.
There's no closers that are actually trained closers. So the person on shift has to train both closers.
Oh, that is so great that you do. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. That is absolutely fantastic that you do not have to deal with that in any way, shape, or form.
How bad could it be? Pin the packs, turn off the lights, and throw the dishes in the kitchen. There, you're closed. It's fine.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well,
That's all I ever did.
Hmm.
okay, also fair and valid, but still,
Yeah.
it's just funny. So, Ezra, why don't you give us a quick little background about who you are, how long you've been playing lasers, all that really good stuff, just so the people at home have kind of a level set
Yeah.
idea of this wonderful person that we've brought on tonight as a guest.
I'm currently in school and I'm still playing laser tag, which is great. And I've only been playing. I'm going on to my third year, like of the competitive scene.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm only going on to my third year right now. I've been playing lasers for like since I was like an itty bitty child, because my Oma, she lived like walking distance from LLT, so we would go over there together and just like play. And so I've been playing for a while, but only with the competitive scene. I'm only going on to my third year right now, which is kind of wacky.
Was your first tournament that one the not like random draw, but that rotational tournament we did in St. George?
Yes,
Yep.
that
See,
was my
Azure
very
just rolls in and just starts winning tournaments.
yeah. They just put me in like the baby backpack, like okay, ready, let's go.
Hey, sometimes getting put in the baby backpack for your first tournament is not the is not the worst thing to
Yeah,
to have happen. All right, so you've been playing since you were knee high to a grasshopper. I mean, you're still kind of knee high to a grasshopper
yeah.
at points as well. Um, but okay, I'm actually surprised to hear you say that you've only been playing competitive tag for the last 3 years because quite honestly the quality of your play kind of belies the relative lack of years of experience.
Hmm.
Um, that's I think think DK would agree with me that you play with a confidence and skill beyond the years that we would expect.
100%.
Dope.
So so you were basically the beating heart of the Loveland B team at nationals this year. So we're just gonna write to Nat stuff, and then we'll
Oh.
kick on from stuff from there. Um,
Hmm.
what was your experience like with Nats this year? Being on the Loveland B team, captaining that team. Like what were some of the things that were kind of exciting or terrifying in the lead up to everything?
It was definitely a little terrifying and highly stressful. Because it was basically a bunch of kids and then Pollux, and so which it's still just a bunch of kids and the rat. So like it's pretty good. Um, but like trying to figure out what people's strengths were, like how to adapt in the middle of games to figure out where they needed to be and what they needed to be doing was like always just you were always thinking. There was never a time to like take a breath, kind of in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You're always like, and then after game like talks and meetings, like, hey, this is kind of what we should be doing for this next game. Um, how we should like tackle this team, or what would be like a good way to like go against. Like, sorry, I can't. Words are not wording, to be honest.
That's okay. I have entire shows like that, as my co-host and chat will highly attest to. So
We don't word here.
words are words are bad. Words are dumb.
they're overrated sometimes for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
For sure. But
So
I think
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it was a really cool experience to be able to captain the team and help them like and kind of like lead us into like where we placed, I think.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of us. Like placing fourth as like an all rookie team was pretty cool. I was
Agreed.
really happy with how we did. Um and so yeah.
Good. That was going to be my next question is what were your kind of expectations going into Nats in terms of where you thought you would finish?
I really wanted to get fourth because the top 3 teams I knew like we could beat them if we did like an exceptional game, but it was going to be very hard on all of us. But I knew we could probably get fourth, and that's what we got. So,
That's good. Like honestly, that strikes me as a good realistic goal to have because I mean, unless you're Brisbane or maybe Detroit some years, it's like
mhm.
your B team is not usually gunning for like those top 3 spots. It's let's finish top half of the field, do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
As you probably saw in some of the preview podcasts, I know a lot of people, myself included, were potentially underestimating the team. Like I had thought that you guys definitely could get fourth, but seeing the operation in action, like you were very clearly the next best team because you're right. The top 3 teams were all full of like very
Mm.
tough, experienced players. Like that was kind of the expectation for those teams. But like even though you played teams like Syracuse and LAPD close, I felt that your team was definitively better in pretty much every encounter, just like way cleaner in your execution and the teamwork. So like what kind of stuff went into you mentioned communication and like reviewing what do we have to do, but how did you kind of like help start building that synergy between your players?
Um, doing a lot of those like practice games against our A team, kind of like just getting smashed but together was like kind of a bonding experience.
It's funny how
For
that
Like,
sure.
works.
um, I we have like our friendships within it and just like would hang out. And so it just kind of started building this like thing that we were all proud of and happy to be a part of. Um, and mostly excited to be a part of was really cool. And it
That
was just
that is definitely one thing that I feel like it's not necessarily overlooked, but it is sometimes overlooked in in terms of having kind of those really deep friendships between players outside that exist outside of the game. So it's not necessarily that you're the 6 best players at the site doing a thing. You're 6 really good players from a site that also all genuinely like each other as well,
mm-hmm.
which can 100% help smooth over rough games. If you're just 6 of the best players who don't necessarily all like each other, you have a rough game. Those post game conversations can turn very vicious very quickly. But if you actually all like each other, in a genuine way, and you're playing on the same team, and a game doesn't necessarily go how you think it's going to, you've got a lot better opportunity to, you know, kind of approach what went wrong a little bit calmer because you do actually like each other instead of are just
Mm.
tolerating each other.
I can't believe you called Loveland Day out like that. So rude.
Historically, unfortunately, yeah, Loveland Day was definitely guilty of that for sure.
And then they sorted their shit out and then
Then
they won.
and then they
So
sorted
Mm-hmm.
their
I
shit out
think,
and they
but
won.
like the point
Yeah.
stands because like I think about that team, I think about your B team for sure, Azra, or I think about like
Mm-hmm.
Dan R04 team, your '08 team
Yeah.
in Auckland, the 2023 team that I was on that won in Auckland. Like all of that was about, like you said, it's personal relationships and that idea of having a shared goal and saying that we're all committed to this thing. Like
Because
we want to do the best we can.
we were all like wanting to do this as like learning more because we knew we weren't gonna win, but we knew like this was gonna be a major learning experience for every single player on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of went into the goal to have fun and like just to learn as much as possible and to play some laser tag, to be honest. And playing laser tag for a week straight is always pretty good.
It's dope.
it's definitely a little easier when you're younger. That's accurate. Uh, my ankles and knees were definitely letting me know that I had been doing that for a week at the end of it. So oh to be
Joints aren't working.
yeah, oh to be not 45 again.
So, what were some of the strategy discussions that you had for Nats Ezra? Like, what is it that you think in terms of like a strategic element in the field that gave you a definitive edge over teams that might have been ranked close with you?
Um, at least I knew from our defense, that I can remember right off the top of my head, the way me and the rat would like set up for resupplies.
Mm.
He would be watching closet, like down the ramp. I'd be watching across third floor to see if the heavy is coming in, allowing like our heavy to like white ninja to just kind of focus a bit more and get a jump on the enemy heavy a bit. And to make sure resupplies were getting rotated so no one was staying in too long and no one was like coming back to way too low. Um, with our offense, I know we wanted control on second, so like placing in certain areas to kind of like help control ground and protect our backline in case it's against a team we're not as confident against. Um, but overall, honestly, I'm trying to remember because most of the time when I'm playing, there's not really a single thought in my head. It's mostly just feeling the vibe and then just going off what that. I there's no thoughts in head. Head empty.
Head empty, only vibes.
Literally.
That
Mhm.
Sometimes though you have to play in the moment like that, that you are probably making lots of rational calculations in your head, but they're happening so quickly that, well, I guess that's really what instinct is. It's just having the experience to know that this thing has happened 100 times before. My body kind of already knows how to react in that situation.
Mhm.
But like kind of watching the way that your team would play, I would describe as like the quote unquote optimal way to play Loveland, where it may not necessarily be the most winning strategy, because the best strategy is always whatever takes advantage of your opponent's weaknesses.
Yeah.
But if you play in an optimal way, basically it's like no matter what the enemy does, like they're not going to be able to milk a huge edge off of us, because we're always going to make
Mhm.
sure that we have angles covered, that someone's always watching third floor, and that we always have people on second floor. So it's like there's never going to be a moment where it just collapses into anarchy, right?
Mhm. And so Strickfa was mostly leading our front line, and then I was mostly leading our back line in a way. Kind of just like, and then we would communicate, figuring out what needed to get done and stuff.
I
well,
think both Van and I can attest to the most effective ammos essentially being able to do that on a game to game basis. That really they are kind of the ones who I think are better positioned to lead the back line. I mean, guy next door isn't here. He would probably disagree, but he is a self-described control freak as a heavy, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of wanting
he is.
to
God,
regulate the
he is.
defense. But really, like you don't want the heavy necessarily to have to, like you said, to think all that much, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want the heavy to shoot people, and the medic can't is only going to have so much information, because like a good medic will still be keeping a lookout, be watching an angle like you were describing the rat doing, but they can't be taking on attackers constantly who are coming in. So that kind
Mm-hmm.
of leaves the ammo. The ammo can kind of peek out, but if they get shot down by somebody, it's not as devastating as your heavy getting shot down and your whole back line collapsing, right?
Exactly. And so I can like, as an ammo, listen more, and then if someone calls something out and I pick it up but no one else might have picked it up, I can repeat it and again and just
That's a
like
great skill you have.
just make it loud, and so that way everyone hears and stuff.
Yeah, there were definitely games against you guys where even though we were definitely on opposite sides of of the arena, um, it was very clear when you were giving your team information. Um, your you're very loud in the arena, and I say that as a huge compliment, because one of like literally one of the biggest challenges for the game as a whole, but especially if you're trying to manage your back line, is making sure that people have as complete of information as possible, and being loud enough to cut through a lot of other sonic noise to give people a chance to have more complete information is a skill in and of itself, and it's one that you have. So it's definitely a thing that helped your team immensely. I mean, you guys definitely pushed us more times than I really want to care to admit.
Well, that was that whole like optimal deployment thing I was talking about. Like pretty much no matter where I went, I was gonna be fighting Jidoku and the Rook, because it's like, yeah, they know where all the good scout spots are. They're not just gonna let me have a good scout spot, because that would be dumb. So I'm like, I'm gonna be fighting them for big box or closet pretty much the whole game, and I'm not gonna be able to take advantage of some little weakness and just sneak in and be like, oh, yep, there's Asra and the rat not looking at me. Somebody was always looking. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, 3 hits, you go kill them. I'll deal with the scouts, but I ain't trying to go through all that bullshit.
Eyes are everywhere in that arena sometimes. Feels like no matter where you go, you're just gonna get shot.
Yeah.
As a generalized statement, yeah, that would be accurate.
So how many iterations or combos did you go through when you were kind of practicing as a team? Like, did you kind of start with this thinking that this was going to be the lineup you wanted to run, or were you thinking something totally different?
It was pretty much the lineup that we had was like what we started with, or we're building the team around, pretty much. The only really like swaps that we did were switching our 3 hits, but everything else stayed kind of the same the entire time when we were practicing, or just if we're like, should we try a new lineup? But these are working really well, and it's like the synergies work really well, so it's like, and we didn't want to make it too complicated for ourselves, since it was like our first Nats, everyone's first Nats. We didn't want to like overcomplicate it by doing too much, and then like making it worse by doing that.
There is definitely something to be said for making sure that you're playing just a good, solid, fundamental game, and not trying to overcomplicate it. Like,
yeah, like know your role, do what you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe you can't speak for everybody on the team, but was that where you wanted to play? Like, what's your favorite SM5 role, I guess, is the broader thing.
I actually really like ammo. I like my one-shots, to be honest. Ammo, scout, and medic. But I think resupplies are my favorite, specifically. Because
talking up to the co-host nice. Already.
Talking to the parts of the show that between us have, well, I know at least 6 all-star resupplies, because I have 6. I don't know how many you have, DK. So
5, I want to say, maybe.
Okay, so 11 all-star resupplies of various forms between the two of us. You might say that we also enjoy our resupply.
Just maybe there might be a little hint that you like resupply. I don't know.
It's possible.
So, what is it you like about ammo?
I like being able to. I feel like I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it in a way, but you have kind of control over the arena and your team, kind of with like you see what they're doing and you can be like, hey, you need to go here. You lead resupplies. You can help your heavy out. You can act more in the like as a defensive scout if it need be. There's just a lot of stuff you can do that helps your team and helps like controlling the situation and what's happening in the arena, and I just kind of like that.
I mean, yeah, the fact that you do kind of get to be involved in everything is kind of nice. You're not one dimensional during the game. You could be doing, you could be, pushing a little bit forward one moment, be full defensive the next, and really the team can't exist without you. So that's also
Mm-hmm.
pretty helpful,
Yeah.
especially if you have control issues like I do.
Yeah, there's nothing
Um.
worse than dying out before your medic if you're ammo. Like I
Yeah,
never feel like such a failure in my life. I'm just like, fuck, I can't believe that happened.
that's the one thing the rat did during that tournament. He gave me so many lives, and there were times like against Cedar City. I was the last one on my team because he fully loaded me up, and I'm like, my guy, now I have to run. I have 10 lives left, and I'm like,
But at least you can't run out of shots.
yeah. So I was running and shooting, and I was hoping for the best.
So if you have lives, you can always fight. That is a nice feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember Tragedy made a comment. This is obviously many years ago now. That the ammo is the single most potent attacking force on the field because of the fact they never run out of shots. So you never have to worry about, you know, if for some reason you have had to push into the attack because you're the, last person left or something like
Mm-hmm.
like that, you 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 never do have to worry about that sickening moment of anything else where you're on a good run, it's all good, click.
And then you hear, yeah.
Oh, and, and now I'm just gonna run away because I can't do anything else now except get shot.
Mm-hmm. There was like a member night game I did. I was playing ammo, and I was just able, like, our medic died out, and so then I just went more on the offense because our team was loaded with shots. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna help out the best I can, and I scored a solid chunk in like the in those 2 minutes that we had to switch into being more offensive.
Yeah,
It was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's always helpful. I remember a game that I was playing ammo. It was in the run up to when we went to Auckland in 2023, and we were practicing against the Loveland A team, like you all were doing, and we hadn't been winning some of our early games. And I think Than was my resupply, was my medic that game. He died out, and I was kind of hanging out downstairs because my instinct as an ammo in most situations would be like you were saying, to go back upstairs just to help the team get a little bit more offense and do that. And weirdly, I kind of held back from doing that because I'm like, no, but I'm playing with really good, solid attackers. I want to make sure that I don't die out and let them down by not having them have any shots. But like immediately after I thought that, Snuffles was playing heavy and he gets a roll of shots and it's like, no, DK, you have to come with me. Stay next to me. I'm like, okay, perfect. This is what I want. We're just
Mm-hmm.
me and the heavy. We're going to go and go in like a wrecking ball together. That's like really nice when you have that ability to especially to be able to reset your 3-hit shield when you don't have a medic
Yeah,
and keep them alive so much longer.
you become like a second medic once they die out,
very much
Exactly.
slightly in a way.
very much so. So so Ezra, what would you say, like, what's your favorite memory from Nats this year? I mean, obviously, it was your first one. Wasn't your first tournament. You had done, you'd had some smaller stuff in
Mm-hmm.
the lead up. But what's kind of like the moment or two or three that just stick out as like, yes, this was just it for you for Nats.
Um, I think there were two moments. One of them was when we beat LAPD for like the first time. I was just really proud of us because it kind of showed how far we came as a team in a way. And so I was like really happy about that. And then the second moment was it was during eliminations
Mm-hmm.
and we were against the Cedar City team. I think I was the last one on my team. And Caleb's like, let me get Azra. And I'm like, you're not touching this ass, rough. And it was just
Boom.
and that I think just had to be one of my favorite moments because
Got
I
him.
ran across third and I'm like, no, you're not today, my man, not here. I'm not dying here.
Wow. Okay, that.
So,
I mean, anytime you can have to make Caleb, work super super hard to kill you out of a game, um, that's always a good moment. If he
mhm.
if he has to work for it. Um,
Make him run. He hates it.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of it either, if I can avoid it. But it's
Mhm.
I'm also typically not the one chasing people down to try to kill them.
Laser tag is
Yeah.
the only situation in life where I do like running, though.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, it's ramps. If I Running with ramps is not on my list of things that I really want to do anymore. But that's also just being old and
Mhm.
having gimpy knees.
So speaking of not running on ramps, are you coming to Syracuse next month,
I
Asra?
am. I got my tickets and everything, and I'm really hyped about it. Not
Nice.
for the cold weather, but for the laser tag, I'm really excited about.
I mean, you're used to dealing with like snow and cold weather living in Colorado,
But
though.
it's not wet cold. It's dry cold.
And there is a huge difference between those two things.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, the whole thing of upstate New York in early January. I don't know that was necessarily the best idea anyone has ever had.
I mean, I've been to a couple of Q's tournaments, but they've all been in summertime. I know many people have gone for their ECTs, which are often in January-ish. But this will be the
Hmm.
first one I've done, so that'll be interesting. Is this you're going to be your first trip to Syracuse?
Yes, it's gonna be my first trip to Syracuse, and it's gonna be my first random draw tournament. So I'm excited
Mm.
to see. So I'm excited about that.
I think it'll be cool if we can, especially if the teams shake out the way that I think they probably will. I think there will be a lot of good close matches between teams in
Hmm.
the random element. I think will make it really fun. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what you think of it because it's obviously different from Loveland not having ramps and that kind of stuff. But I mean, you
Yeah.
played the St. George field. I think there are
Hmm.
a lot of not exact similarities, but there is a certain kind of similarity between those fields and the way that they play because it's a lot of that single floor element.
Hmm. I'm really excited about it. To see like how the arena plays out and like how it works, and just to see what a random draw is like. I'm excited about that part too.
Random draws, I mean, the whole thing on them being that, oh, I'm gonna get forced into playing things that I don't necessarily like to play positionally. Um, that's always kind of an interesting moment because guaranteed, because Murphy says so, you
Hmm.
will you will draw the thing that you hate the most times. That's just how this is gonna go. Like you're like not gonna pull ammo the entire week. Is
Oh, I'm gonna get a solid bit of commander then. Oh boy.
solid bit of commander, solid bit of heavy,
Well,
some.
then the people won't know what hit them because Azra's coming for that ass. Bruh.
I guess so now.
No, we are actually we are genuinely interested to hear what you think of the facility because I know that for us I think the first time that we went in 2011 I remember stepping into the arena the first time and going, oh, nice carpet,
Oh yeah.
astroturf,
Turf.
turf.
That's my I'm also excited about because I heard they had AstroTurf and I'm like that sounds fucking amazing. Like
Turf is legendary.
It's yeah and it's one of those things that for all that you will hear everybody who's played there just like raving about how great it is, you don't really understand it until the first time you actually play a game on it, and then not just a game but like playing for the multiple days, and you get done with the multiple days and realize that you know your ankles, knees, and hips aren't all murdering you because you haven't been running on straight up concrete for 3
mhm.
days. Um, yeah, I know, less of an issue for you, age wise and all that, but you're still gonna appreciate it, 100%.
I don't know, man. My joints are they're kind of bad at this point already.
Well, then you will enjoy the AstroTurf. The turf is so legendary, it almost got Kodama banned from a non-turf site. That's how good it is. That story's not fit for public consumption, so I'll let him tell that one when we're in Syracuse. If you don't know that story.
I might know it, I might not, but we'll find out.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'm not trying to get banned from any sites either, so I'm not going to retell it on air. Because, for all of our tens of followers, I'm sure that story's something to come back to haunt me.
I mean, it's already come back to haunt me a few times, so that's okay. That is all right.
So, Azra, you went to your first laser tag tournament and came back with dyed hair, which is very similar. I, too, once went to a tournament as a teenager, my first Laserforce tournament, and I came back with dyed hair. How did your parent and or parents react when you came back with the dyed hair?
So I texted my mom. I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm going to get my hair dyed. She's like, because here's the thing. She dyes her hair a lot, or she did dye her hair a lot. And so same with my brother. So they're like, oh, dope. That's going to be really sick. So they were really excited to see what it was like.
Cool.
And then now I've been dyeing my own hair slightly. So I guess it's just got another addiction along with it.
Well, you're certainly not the only one in the laser tag community. There is a close association, though it hasn't always been the same people across time. I feel like there's always been somebody with some festive hair at pretty much every laser tag tournament I've been to.
Not me, ever.
No, I didn't say it was you. I just said somebody.
No, but I'm saying that because, in order to dye your hair, you have to have hair.
Hey, you had hair the first time I got my hair dyed, and then you know what he did? He immediately made fun of it as well, Asra. He was so mean.
Can't believe you, man.
I know it's absolutely shocking that I would mock my friends for
I know
doing stuff.
Like, would never expect that,
No, not in any way, shape, or form ever. It's definitely not my MO and hasn't been for years.
Definitely not a trademark. No.
Yeah. Well, see, back in the day, we didn't have texting, so I didn't text my mom ahead of time because I decided it was better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
What was your mom's reaction the first time it happened?
I think it was something to the effect of, "Oh, that's interesting."
Not the interesting.
Yep. So, this is just my way of getting back at things as an adult. Just in my 30s and 40s, just keep the hair rotating weird colors. Why not?
Valid. Well, and really, one of us has to, since the other one can't. And that's just
there's a balance,
There is balance to in the Force. That is relatively accurate. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's how all podcasts work. You have to have a host with great hair, a host with no hair, and a host with crazy hair. Like, that just is how podcasts work. And don't fact check me on that, internet. I've just decided that's the law. It's like how you have to have like a certain composition for a successful sitcom cast. That's how podcasts work.
Yep, that's the rule now.
We like that. So obviously you're going to Syracuse here in like a month, little over a month. Any thoughts about trying to get down to Brisbane for
oh yeah, I'm heading out to Brisbane for it.
Oh, you are?
I am.
That's a definite. You're locked in and all that?
It is. Yep.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So I'm hella excited about that.
Because Azra has what we call commitment and dedication, Than. I'm like, somebody.
You need to fuck right the fuck off. Asshole. No, Asher, that's super exciting that you're already locked in for that. Do you know who else from Loveland is already locked into going beside you?
I think the ones that are like fully locked in is Poopies, and then the Fear Turkey. So Josiah and Anthony, and they're already locked in and planning on going. So
yeah, I heard you have like 9 or 10 people who are at least interested in going.
Yeah, there's like
Plausibly.
there's a solid chunk that are interested in going. And
And
then we
yeah,
have some of the LLT staff who are interested in going, and I'm most likely locked in. I can't remember off the top of my head or not,
that
but
so that kind of surprises me a little bit, just in as much as the LLT staff historically haven't necessarily been very big on Space Five. Laser Ball, sure, like
Mhm.
that's definitely seemed to be the staff's game of choice. And to be fair, it's 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 a fine game. It's not SM5, but it's fine. Um, so hearing that some of the staff members are like, "Hey, maybe we want to go down and play an SM5 tourney," is interesting. Not bad, just interesting.
yeah, because one of them is like Lizzie Lizard.
Well,
Friend of the pod, Lizzie
Yeah,
Lizard.
we love we love Lizard. Such a cool person.
she is.
Mhm.
We definitely acknowledge it. Well, okay. If you say it's just Lizzie that's in,
Liz. Yeah.
is then it's like, okay, well, that makes sense. I was thinking about the rest of them and
I,
going, well, that doesn't make any sense. But I forgot she is an employee as
Yeah,
well. So
technically Liz is an employee. Technically John Calkins is an employee. So it's like
Mhm.
if you say the employees are going, that's a little different.
Yeah. I think they're both interested in going, and
Oh, cool.
then there's two others, which is LLTstore.com. So Gabe, and then I can't remember his. I think it's Ace. So Corbin. So they're both employees that are interested in going as well. And so we got a solid crew going, like that are interested in it, which I'm excited for.
Well, it is potentially historic because although we have in the last couple of tournaments, so in Southern Hemisphere, gotten in some cases like two full U.S. teams, we've never had like a full site-based
Site
team
team.
travel, yeah, from the U.S. To Brisbane.
Ooh,
So if there is in fact a full Loveland team for Brisbane, that'd be pretty cool because it'd be the first time that that's happened. Um,
making history.
yeah, I guess we technically could have made a pure Sacramento team in 2018, but it wouldn't have really worked.
Mm,
But we had more.
yeah.
Yeah, we had enough people go to fill out the team, but they ended up splitting up. Anyway, that's far afield, but I'm just saying that'd be cool.
Oh no, it's far afield because everything we always talk about on the show is directly in line with
We always keep it very
hmm
relevant, very strict kind of schedule. We move from one point to the other with seamless segues.
perfect transitions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure.
So speaking of games the employees play, that's called a segue right there.
hmm
What are your feelings about non-Space Marines games? Do you have a favorite non-Space Marines games? Are there any other games you really like?
I really like Huntsman and Dead Aim. Those are probably my two favorite game modes besides Space Marines. I just like the accuracy based games. I just think they're fun.
All right. So, fun fact, um, the Dead Aim in kind of its original form the original idea actually came from a Sacramento player. That was one of Jeff's Lejeu's way back in the day.
You're right.
Whoa.
It was.
So
I just remembered that now that you mentioned it.
yeah, that's one of one of the Sacramento legacies is Dead Aim. That's
And I feel like we played Dead Aim a lot, especially as a warm-up game while we were still like waiting to have enough players for Space Marines when we'd be there on member night. And
100%.
yeah, I feel like that. But we played a fair amount of deathmatch too, but Dead Aim I think was
hmm
always a pretty popular warm-up game.
Deathmatch, otherwise known in Sacramento as the Flint Cheats game,
Just keep making circles around to the gens.
and getting all the power ups, little asshole. Um,
hmm
yeah, no, Dead Aim. I mean, Dead Aim as a skill increaser is I I'm not gonna say it's an underrated game for that because it's not, but I do think that a lot of people overlook it. Um,
hmm
partially just because the Laserforce game book at this point is so fucking massive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's like a lot of games now. There's a whole bunch.
There's definitely some. I don't think I've played all of them, especially if the game has come out in the recent years. Because I have played a couple games of Huntsman, but please remind me for the audience, what are the the rules of Huntsman? Because I totally know what it is, but I want to
Huntsman
hear you
is
explain
similar to Dead Aim with like the one in the chamber kind
it.
of thing.
Right.
But you can only have a max of 5 shots, and then all the targets in the arena become bases, and then it takes all 5 shots to get the base.
Right.
And that's pretty much all of Huntsman. And
Okay,
every time
so
you
it is
tag a
just
player, you get a shot.
Okay, so it's so it's basically like everybody's a level 6 in
it's Dead Aim with a
Dead
lower cap. It
Dead
sounds
Aim.
like.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was somehow different from that, but okay, yeah, that sounds right. Because I'm like I remember it was very similar to Dead Aim, but I didn't remember exactly what the specifics were.
It's
Yeah.
again, the game book expands, and as far as we're concerned, like the game book stopped expanding, years and years ago. There's the games that we grew up on, and that's it, nothing else, nothing else.
Yeah, but Color Conquest is dope though.
Color Conquest is pretty cool. I think there's one game mode, Zombies versus Survivors, that I have a memory of from when I was little and played it.
Yep.
The first time I played it, I got so super scared because of all the zombie noises that I started crying
Oh,
mid game.
no.
So I got a free icy out of it. That was pretty much a little win for Tiny Azra. So
I
because the
mean,
zombie noises and it being a dark, spooky arena,
yeah.
and I was like, nope, not for me.
You're just like, I'm just gonna nope right the fuck out, and and then they take pity on you, like, here is your tiny icy.
You're a tiny child.
I may have seen a few Gen Pub members in my time with a similar approach in that game, and I always just try to remind them. I'm like, they're not real zombies; they're just weirdos with laser tag vests on.
It's fine.
I said the same thing during Space Marines, also.
Yeah.
They're not real Space Marines; they're just weirdos with laser tag vests on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's valid.
I mean, that's what I've had to tell people who are like scared of Rusty. I'm like, he's just a person. Go shoot him.
I gotta see the Brisbane players. I'm curious. Everyone talks about them, and I'm like, I need to see for myself now.
It is so. What does suck a little bit is you're not gonna see peak Brisbane, like that. Like that era has passed. You will still see a very good Brisbane because they like you guys do have a regular player base, and they do have regular leagues, and they're constantly playing games that actually matter, and so they get better and better and better and all that. But yeah, you've unfortunately missed, like they had this very long stretch of time where it was just ridiculous dominance and ridiculous player base of, they could put 2 and 3 teams together that, like, their C team players would be A team players at other sites.
Yeah, and the 14 nats we played, Brisbane A, B, and C were first, second, and third. Actually, technically, Brisbane C beat Brisbane B in the semifinal. So Brisbane C actually came in second in that tournament. But all 3 of the top teams were all Brisbane. And like, I don't disagree with Than, but I also want to, like, just say, we're always going to remember, like, peak Brisbane as being sometime in the past, but for all we know, like, this might be the best Brisbane team they've ever had. It's just the game has changed, the game's advanced, just because we're not as familiar with them. Because at least from the team that Rusty rumored to me, which I can't even remember everybody who was on it, the people who I had heard were probably going to be on it, it's going to be a really, really strong team, and I would still expect them to essentially dominate, but I'm hoping that the U.S. will be able to put up some good competition for them.
Oh, I'm not saying that Brisbane is going to put up a shitty team in their own maze. Like, that would be fucking stupid. I'm just saying that, like, from from an overall like depth of player base
Yeah.
and overall player quality. Again, talking is hard. I don't know
Yeah.
why, to make the person with the stutter the lead host at times.
Cruelty.
Pretty much. The the they wouldn't be able to put basically 3 A teams together anymore. Is is the only point that I'm making. So they're still good. It is still going to be awesome for you to kind of experience that as they smack you up and down their maze.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they definitely they have a reputation, especially in their own maze for a reason, but also out of their own maze because they have certainly won more than their share of stuff away from home as well. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll be a good time as well. Good as a
Yeah.
as a
No, it will be.
relative statement.
Even in tournaments where I haven't done super well in Brisbane, it's such a fun field and just a good experience. And
I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, and I assume it will be your first trip to Australia.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be super cool too, because there's a ton of stuff to do, ton of stuff to see. Some of the most fun I've had. So I'm happy for you that you're getting down there much earlier than I did.
Really big spiders too.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not so sure about. But
If it helps, I didn't really see that many. I expected there to be way
No.
more. It wasn't that bad.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
reassuring.
Plus, it's their winter time, so the insects are not out and about quite as
True.
much.
True.
they're a little more dormant, but winter there is not cold. It's just mild.
Oh no, look, Brisbane
Yeah.
winter is amazing. It's like San Diego. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so you'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be great. Be a blast.
I think so.
But yeah, giant fucking spiders. Those are actually a thing. Again, though, a suburb is a suburb, so you're not going to see a ton of them. I'm not going to say you're not going to see none, but you're probably going to see a ton of them.
The drop bears just start throwing them as grenades as you pass underneath.
Just you got your bag of spiders, as you head into the arena.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the proximity sensor alarms that they have.
Hi. So, Asra, is there anything else that you want to bring up or talk about before we kind of head off into the wobbly yonder this Friday night?
There isn't much that I can think of, to be honest.
Okay.
Anything you want to plug?
Oh, actually, at my school, I've been having meetings with the gaming club there, and I'm incorporating laser tag into it now. It's starting up next semester, so we're gonna get like a college laser tag team and group. So.
Which school?
So you can play against Liz's team.
Front Range Community College.
All right.
Yeah, so you put together
campuses.
your own team. You and Liz just go head to head with your laser tag clubs. Be like, you know what?
Just
do a thing.
It's gonna be great. So, been like advertising a lot of laser tag and talking about a lot of laser tag there. So.
Excellent.
Sweet.
Well, the I don't know. After having Lizzie on last show and now you on this show and finding out it's like, oh, you guys are really making this nice push to bring these college groups in, but basically as as a way to expand the player base and basically give you guys a deeper pool of players. It's so freaking awesome. Like,
We're gonna make it a college sport. Well, laser tag is the only correct sport, so we'll get it up there.
You heard it here first.
Hey, it's a there. Things like this are things that I wish we had done when we were that age, and it just was never something like when I was at Sac State. It was never something that I even thought about because I just wasn't that involved with anything that wasn't going to classes.
Yeah. But also, like, laser tag was kind of your escape from that. So
Also
sometimes
true.
you didn't always want to
Yeah.
blend your worlds, but you know.
Also true, but just seeing that you guys are trying to build basically build at extra numbers, and get people involved is really fucking awesome. And honestly, I hope that you're as successful as the fuck.
EU one.
Yeah, that one. Sorry, my brain
Yeah.
short-circuited.
You know,
as I
the
was trying to
thing
make a
in this
point.
place with the stuff.
Yeah, that other school, I think.
Y'all know what we're talking about.
Yeah, with the resupply decoder ring. That's what we're talking about. Okay, well, Asra, appreciate you coming on tonight. Glad that this it worked out with your schedule. I'm sorry you didn't get the full resupply experience by not having Steve-O here as well.
That's all right.
But we also
Maybe I just have to come back once.
well
I think so.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing that we think
Well,
is.
since you're going to Syracuse and you're planning to go to Brisbane, that gives us a great reason to have you on as a guest, because we like
Exactly
getting the
so.
perspective of people who go to lots of tournaments. So if you want to be cool and be on the resupply, y'all should come to more tournaments, because that's where we get our guests from.
Tournaments is where it's at.
100%. All right. So, I have no idea what Steve-O has planned for shows for him this week. So, I'm sure.
So come check out the Resupplies Discord, because he posts about that and the stuff and the things, and you get all kinds of go live notifications if you're a member of the Resupply Discord. So you should do that.
Ta-da! Nailed it.
Marketing.
Yeah, which you would think I'd be better at, since that's what my original degree was in, but
Who uses their degree?
not me at all, either of them. So that's fine. We should be back next week with another resupply show. I don't think there's any reason for us not to be on next week.
I think we're supposed to have a guest on next week, so we should have a show.
Excellent. All right. But for this week, I've been Old Man Than.
I've been DK.
I've been Asra.
Always remember to backtrack, kids, and we will see you next week. Yeah, something like that.
Probably.
Cheers.
Peace.
I've been throwing daggers in the night. I've been chasing all the stars, stealing all their lights. The cut so sharp, cut so deep. If they seem to hit their target, it must be what we reap. 'Cause you don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. And all these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I've been throwing daggers in my dreams. If they seem to hit their target, it's harder than it seems. 'Cause you don't know what I know. just have to